The Vanishing Hour. It was a cold October evening when Daniel Grayson received the call that would change everything. The voice on the other end was frantic, almost whispering, "You have to come back home. It's happening again." Daniel hadn't set foot in Blackwood Hollow in nearly 20 years. He had left the sleepy town behind along with the ghosts of his past. But now, as he sat in his dimly lit apartment in Chicago, staring at the phone in his shaking hand, he felt something he hadn't, in years, fear. The call had come from his childhood friend, Noah. They hadn't spoken in ages, not since the disappearance of their other friend, Emily, when they were just teenagers. Emily's case had never been solved. One autumn evening, she had simply walked into the woods and never returned. The town had speculated endlessly. Some believed she ran away, others whispered of something more sinister. But now, Noah's voice had been clear. "It's happening again." Against his better judgment, Daniel packed a bag and drove through the night, his car cutting through the dense fog that clung to the winding roads leading into Blackwood Hollow. The town looked almost unchanged, frozen in time. The same old gas station, the diner with its flickering neon sign, the towering pines that seemed to stretch forever. Noah was waiting for him at the edge of town, standing beside his rusted truck. The moment Daniel stepped out of his car, he saw it in his friend's eyes, pure terror. "Another girl went missing," Noah said without preamble. "Same place, same night." Daniel swallowed hard. "Where?" "The woods behind your old house." Memories slammed into him like a freight train. The three of them, Daniel, Noah, and Emily, had spent endless summer days exploring those woods, daring each other to go deeper, whispering about the so-called legend of the Vanishing Hour. It was an old tale, passed down by the elders of Blackwood Hollow. They claimed that once every 20 years, when the harvest moon reached its peak, someone in town would disappear. They would be seen walking into the forest, and then never again. It had been exactly 20 years since Emily vanished. Daniel shook his head. "You really think it's the legend? That it's real?" Noah's expression was grim. "I don't know what I believe anymore, but we have to go back to the woods. Tonight." Everything in Daniel screamed against it, but deep down he had always wanted answers, and so, against his better judgment, he agreed. As night fell, they made their way through the dense forest, the beams of their flashlights cutting through the eerie mist. The deeper they went, the more the air seemed to change heavier, charged with something unseen. Then, Noah froze. "Do you hear that?" Daniel held his breath. At first, there was nothing but the wind rustling through the leaves. Then, faintly, a whisper. A voice neither of them recognized, yet felt hauntingly familiar. "Daniel," his heart pounded. "Emily?" The whispering grew louder, shifting in tone, as if the trees themselves were speaking. The flashlight flickered, and for the briefest moment, Daniel saw a shadow move between the trees, small, delicate, wearing the same blue dress Emily had worn the night she vanished. Then, she was gone. Daniel ran forward, ignoring Noah's warning shouts. His feet carried him to the clearing where Emily had last been seen, but what he found made his blood run cold. A single, fresh footprint, too small to be his, too recent to be 20 years old, and beside it, a locket, the one Emily had always worn. Daniel turned to Noah, his voice barely above a whisper. She was here. Tonight. Before Noah could respond, the ground beneath them trembled, a low, guttural sound rising from deep within the earth. The trees swayed unnaturally, their branches twisting like grasping fingers, and then the whisper returned. "Help me." Daniel and Noah locked eyes, realizing the horrifying truth. Emily was never truly gone. She was trapped in the vanishing hour. And now, it was happening again. Noah took a step back, his face pale in the moonlight. "What do we do?" His voice was barely audible over the growing hum of energy pulsing around them. Daniel tightened his grip on the locket. The metal was ice cold against his palm. "We have to find her. We have to stop this." Before Noah could protest, Daniel pressed forward into the clearing, his breath coming in short, shallow gasps. The whispering intensified, swirling around them like a chorus of lost voices. And then, as suddenly as it had started, the sound stopped. The forest fell into an eerie silence, thick with anticipation. A shuffling noise came from behind them. Daniel spun around. his flashlight catching movement in the underbrush. A figure emerged, Emily, or at least something that looked like her. Her blue dress was faded, her hair tangled, and her eyes were black voids, staring through him. "Daniel, you came back." The voice was hers, but it was layered with something else, something ancient. Noah took a step forward. "Emily, is it really you?" She cocked her head, a small smile forming on her lips. "I've been waiting." Then the ground beneath them gave way. The earth trembled, pulling at their feet like unseen hands dragging them into darkness. The last thing Daniel saw before the world went black was Emily's outstretched hand reaching for him, pleading. And then he fell. When Daniel awoke, he was no longer in the woods. He was somewhere else. A place suspended in twilight, where the trees stood frozen in time, and the sky swirled with unnatural colors. Noah lay beside him, stirring with a groan. A voice echoed through the air. "You are in the vanishing hour." Daniel turned sharply, his pulse racing. Emily stood before them, no longer just a shadow of the past. She was real, tangible. But something was wrong. The darkness still clung to her, whispering in a language neither of them understood. "I've been trapped here for 20 years, she said, her voice trembling. "And now, you're here too." Daniel's breath caught. "How do we get out?" Emily's eyes darkened. "You don't." As the reality of their fate set in, a chilling wind swept through the endless twilight, carrying with it the voices of all who had disappeared before them. And then Emily whispered, "There is only one way. A sacrifice must be made." Daniel and Noah exchanged glances, their stomachs twisting with dread. Before they could ask what she meant, the sky above them cracked like shattered glass, revealing glimpses of the real world. Time was running out. The vanishing hour had claimed them, and soon it would claim more, unless they could break the cycle, and the price of freedom might be more than they were willing to pay. A shadow loomed behind Emily, its form twisting and stretching. A voice, deeper and older than time itself, whispered, "Choose."